We wanted to talk about relationships, and of course, we will go into relationships much deeper. And there are just four kinds, which we will elaborate on as we go along, as we go on. And be rest assured, I know what I'm talking about, and everything that I say to you is going to be based on experiences that I have had. Deep experiences, really profound experiences. I'm not talking about surface level stuff. I'm talking about what others may want to call reaching beyond what is the norm. Getting into ESP, extrasensory perception, which is just another word for deep discernment. When we talk about discernment, it comes in two flavors. There is infused discernment and there is induced discernment. We get to look at these words, we get to deconstruct them, peel them apart, and we get to look at what it is that they each behold. The English word, by the way, for discernment would be intuition and or gut feeling, which connects with the psychological or the medical side of it, which then would be what we call head and or heart coherence. It is at the vibrational level, what's going on, those waves that we see when you're connected into an electroencephalogram or an electrocardiogram. We get a certain reading, and that reading gives us an idea of the state of your health. You catch my drift? So let's talk about those relationships, the different kinds of relationships, because I know we all struggle with relationships. We don't know who's who in our lives and what role they play because we don't know who we are and what we stand for. And a lot of that is because we either do not have values or struggle with our own values. But how many people really truly live with values? So we were talking about the tenets of Mindset Boulevard. We got to the second bit. The second bit was discuss secret and sacrosanct topics. No taboo areas. The last part, which is the more difficult part, and I'm sure everyone all of you who have dealt with me, interacted with me on the deeper level know that this is where it can get a little tricky, a little tacky, where that third tenet made up of three pillars, or the third tenet is made up of three pillars, and the three pillars are: we push each other for mutual growth, we hold each other accountable, and we take full responsibility for our thoughts, our words, and our actions or deeds. It means you don't get to tell me it's none of my business. Of course it is my business, and if you think it's not my business and you're my friend, then you're being very selfish. Why? Because the day you come knocking on my door or at my door at 3 a.m. or calling my phone at 4 a.m., I'm not going to make an excuse. I'll pick up the phone and I'll ask what we're doing to move forward. I'm not going to ask you what time it was, because I assume you knew it was 4 a.m. and it must have been important enough for you to call me. So if we could identify that problem, brainstorm, if I could be that soundboard, if I could be your storyboard, the thing against which you push ideas back and forth until you come to a certain resonance which allows you to find truth for what it represents at that moment. The kind of truth that turns the problem we talked about at the beginning into an obstacle which becomes a stepping stone onto which you bounce to then find or realize you had a vantage point, and from that vantage point you see the opportunities that the horizon presents to you. But if you had not done that, then we would be dealing further downstream with crisis management, and that is the one thing we do not want: disaster recovery. So as we get to meet and greet and embrace one another in this culture, we will touch on so many different things.